Hey everybody, how's it going? Thank you so much for all the comments and the questions and everything you had on our Facebook post about what to cook with all our pantry staples. We're going to do a couple of dishes, but really just wanted to kind of, number one, hopefully offer a little bit of entertainment, some information, just a way to kind of help keep us from thinking about that thing that's going on outside in the rest of the world. I know a lot of us still have to cook dinner at home. On that note, on the cooking at home, let me first give all the love that I can to all my restaurant brethren. This is a tough time for everybody right now. So if you're not cooking at home, please look at your favorite local restaurant and go for some of their takeout options as well. They're doing curbside. A lot of people are changing their business models just to survive. So all you guys have my love and support as much as you can. For those of you who that may not be an option, if you got families, if you just have a ton of food that you're sitting on at home and need some way to cook it, I'm going to try and show over the next couple of days, hopefully not a couple of weeks, but we may have to go that route on how to best use what you got. I'm going to try and do my best to simulate what some of the rest of you are going through. I've been in my local Publix, which is, for the Atlanta, Southeast, Florida kind of region, our local supermarket, and it's been hit pretty hard. But oddly enough, some of the things that you would think would be, cleared out were in pretty heavy supply. There was still a lot of produce on the shelves. There were some of the thicker kind of braising cuts of meat, really beef available. All the chicken was gone. All the ground meats were gone. Pretty much all the pork was gone. And then you were starting to kind of get into the lunch meats. The dairy was pretty darn close to wiped out. But like I said, lots of fresh produce. But then everything from our pantry staples, things like rice, beans, various grains, couscous, farro, things like that, canned vegetables. I'm going to talk you through how to kind of compose some dishes and hopefully make some substitutions just to be able to do it the best you can. Because I was able to buy a little bit of produce, but if that's not your option and you've got some dried spices or some dehydrated things, frozen, canned, whatever it is, I'm going to show you a way to kind of make the best of what you got. So none of these recipes are set in stone. However, I will be posting what I make with a picture of the finished dish a little bit later on this afternoon or early this evening. So, if you need a little bit more of a hardcore recipe to follow and have the means to do so, hopefully you can make it tonight. So one of the things that we're going to get into today is we're going to make a lentil chili. Chili is one of those things that if I know I'm going to be, if it's snowed in, if it's kind of trapped inside, we're kind of in that period where we're transitioning into warmer weather, so you may not want that kind of hearty stick to your rib stuff, but it's a great way to use up if you've got canned beans, if you've got dried beans, anything like that. It's a great way to use it up. As I said earlier, we didn't really have any meat options. I'll show you how to do that if you want to turn it into a more substantial meaty chili. But for right now, for all my vegetarian friends, even for all my vegan friends, this is a good one for you guys. So I'm going to get right into it because my camera woman's on limited time right now. So I've got a Dutch oven.
Your Aunt Carla's watching.
Hello, Aunt Carla.
And Shannon.
Hey, Shannon.
And Kate.
Hello, Kate. I'm going to try and give you guys thank you again for commenting on our feed the other night. I'm going to try to address some of your ingredients, if not today, in some future videos. So please keep those comments coming. I happen to have an onion diced up. If you don't happen to have fresh onions, because I know that when I went to the store on Sunday, the entire potato and onion, sweet potato, that whole row was cleared out. So this is just one medium onion chopped up. If you weren't able to find one, you could go about, what's our ratio? I think 2 tablespoons of dried onion flakes. You'd want to put it in when it's more of the liquid part of the chili so it can reconstitute. But about 2 tablespoons of that would get you a medium onion. If all you have is onion powder, it's about the same ratio. You may want to scale it back just a little bit so it doesn't get too aggressive. Again, if I know I'm going to make chili, this is something that I usually keep around my pantry a lot. This is a poblano pepper. If you have any type of bell peppers, red, yellow, green if you can, not one of my favorites, but beggars can't be choosers in some of this stage. If you have jalapenos, you can kind of do less of them from what I put in. That would work too. If you have canned chipotles, that would be a good option.
Fraser is very excited about the vegan chili.
Oh, well, good. I'm very excited that Fraser is watching as well. So just for a little cooking tip, one of the things that you won't see me ever measure out is salt. I like to use a lot of it and at different stages. For all my non-chef friends, if you ever hear us talking about layering flavors, this is really what it means. It means putting our ingredients in and then seasoning them in stages to where along the way they'll kind of coax out the most flavor that we can possibly get out of this. And no, I'm not going to do this completely start to finish because otherwise it'll be about 30 minutes of me just staring at you guys and we can make weird at each other. But I'm going to try and get us to the best stage possible. And like I said, then we'll show us the finished.
Shannon wants to know, is this kosher?
Well, considering that there is about 2 pounds of bacon and some smoked sausage in my fridge, for us personally, no. I know if I get tasked into cooking kosher food, one of the best kind of workarounds to that, if I'm ever unsure on any of the laws that I need to follow, is I just cook vegetarian. So this is, I would like to think that, with the exception of the personal kitchen.
That's kosher salt.
Kosher salt? I'm sorry. Like, sure. Yes, it is kosher salt. I don't use iodized salt really for anything.
Also, Woody from Coalition's there.
Oh, hey Woody, how you doing? We will be hitting you guys up for takeout soon enough. So anybody up in my Roswell area friends, if you're not cooking this at home, please go check out our friends Woody Back and Ryan Pernice over at Table in Maine, Coalition Food and Beverage, and Osteria Matone.
They got a cool menu, right? You just mentioned.
Yeah, they did. They just kind of, it was a really fun, what you're going to start to see with the restaurant realm, I'm going to try not to dwell on this too much, but I do think it's worth bringing awareness to, is a lot of us are going to have to start revisiting our business model. And one of the things that they kind of got out in front and started doing was offering, they have 3 restaurants in their group, so offering kind of greatest hits from each of the menu at a common location, which I think is fantastic. So guys, I hope that goes really well, as best as possible for you. So what I'm looking to do is just get a little bit of a sweat on these vegetables, working as hot as, if you're on the stovetop, you'd want to do it over about medium heat. I've got this wonderful little $10 special that we used to use for all our cooking videos at Southern Kitchen. Shout out to any of the team that may be watching on that. So it's doing the best it can. But what we're really looking to do is to get our onion translucent and our pepper a little bit soft. And I've got some fresh garlic. A lot of you out there mentioned that you had garlic out there. If garlic powder is all you have, just a good ratio to remember is, I think, 1/8 of a teaspoon per clove of garlic.
John Barkell's in the house.
John Barkell! Nice to see everybody out there, or hear that everyone's out there. You guys really came with it on some great ideas and ingredients to use up. Becca Wagner had chicken thighs, mushrooms, beans, and garlic. I'm going to try and use a few of those in this, but then, as we go forward, like I said, trying to kind of simulate what you may have at home. Like, for example, we've got half of a rotisserie chicken sitting in our fridge right now. That's going to become jambalaya tomorrow. That'll also be for Stephanie Williams, who needed some rice, wanted some spice to the rice. Let's see, Heather Patterson had some oranges and lemons that needed to get used. The first thing I'd go for are cocktails, really, because who doesn't need booze in this time right now? If you have things like sugar, eggs, butter at home, make a curd would be really good. I know baked goods are going to be kind of coming up soon on our radar, so things like scones and biscuits, the curd would be a good complement to that. Lindsay Williams posted a picture of a killer-looking market box from one of those fresh produce deliveries. So it had some stuff like cauliflower, kale, peppers, Brussels sprouts. Going to have some dishes over the next week or two to use all, if not some of that. And then Amanda Shea put up a great list of really anything you'd want to have in your pantry, from peanut butter to quinoa to beans and canned vegetables. So as we go forward, we're going to try and use as many of those as we can. So garlic, you just want to cook it for about a minute or two just till it gets nice and fragrant. Then I've got our spices. Takes me back to the 90s era of Food Network when you used to see everything kind of lined out on the row. So I'll kind of go along with you. So we've got some chili powder right here. Really any kind if you have it at home. This is just standard chili powder. If you've got the New Mexico, if you got the ancho, if you got the chipotle, you may want to scale it back just a little bit, but that's up to you guys. Cumin would not be chili without cumin, so one of my favorite spices. I've got some cayenne pepper, and then a little bit of dried oregano. Really, all of these can kind of be interchangeable. I think the chili powder and the cumin are probably most essential to making a chili, but Again, if all you have, or if you got a can of Chipotles and you don't have some of the spices, that'll work too. Just kind of making the most of what you got.
Yeah, and we're going to post this recipe online.
Indeed we will. Just freshly ground black pepper, another thing I don't really measure out necessarily.
Oh, Kim Ware is watching, and Lee.
Hey everybody.
And Charlie.
Thanks for joining in.
And Valerie Burke says hi.
Hey Valerie. So before we kind of got started, before the onion went in, if you were going to do a meat chili, let's say you've got some ground pork, ground turkey, ground beef, ground lamb, venison for all you hunters out there, you'd want to get your pan kind of hot, put your oil in first, and then brown up your meat before you add in the vegetables, because the onions have a lot of water in them. If you went onions first, then your meat wouldn't brown, and you'd lose out on that flavor opportunity. But since we're just going vegetarian with this, we're just going to work on sweating our vegetables. Again, with the spices, we're just kind of like the garlic. We're looking for them to get toasted and fragrant. There's some oils in there that we need to release, and it smells wonderful in here.
Cousin Heather's on.
Hey, Heather. So this is kind of the direction from right here where you could really make it your own. If you're doing kind of a meatier chili and you wanted to add something like beer to it, you could. All I have is Tropicali in the fridge, and I ain't wasting it on my chili. So there's going to be no beer in this. But if that's what you wanted to put in, that would be great. If you liked a thicker chili and you had some masa lying around, or even some tortilla chips that you wanted to crush up and kind of make it a bit thicker, that would work too. I've got some lentils here. These are brown lentils, because this was literally the last bag they had at Publix when I was doing my grocery shopping the other day. Depending on kind of what you want out of your lentils, if you find the crimson, the red, the yellow lentils, those are going to be better for soups and stews because they're going to cook down a little creamier. The green lentils, the black, the brown are going to hold their shape a little bit more. Brown's kind of somewhere in between. Green, I believe, is the most sturdy. But for a chili, definitely want these to kind of cook down and give off their starchy goodness inside. I'm just looking to give this a stir, get everything nice and coated and separated. And then I had a can of tomatoes, because I think that most of us have these floating around in their homes, in their pantries, their cupboards, if you will, and I will. Again, just kind of give this a stir, and add a little bit more salt. Just trying to get it to where we don't have to season it much at the end. If you have to season at the end, you blew it and you missed some good opportunity for flavor.
Layers of flavor. Layers
of flavor, and that is an awful transition to use as I have water sitting beside me. If you're one of those people like when my parents still lived in the U.S. Hi, Dad. I don't think Mom's on social media, but they would keep pallets from their Costco runs of chicken broth down in the basement. We don't have a ton here, and I've got some other dishes that may require it a little bit more. So I just have water here. Really use any liquid you like if you wanted to kind of keep it, with the vegetarian theme. If you've got mushroom broth floating around, if you've got vegetable broth, that would work too. This would also be a good time if there were any other, before we added our liquid, if there were any other vegetables you wanted to add. I've done this with butternut squash and mushrooms in it. If you were thinking a little more like corn and zucchini and wanted to pump that up, you would add those in kind of with your lentils, let those kind of cook just for a bit. A good ratio if you're thinking about kind of cooking with lentils to get everything to absorb to that good kind of creamy phase is about 2-to-1 liquid to lentils. And what I'm going to do is just bring this up to a boil first. Then I'm going to knock it down to a simmer. I'm going to put our lid on it. And I'm going to sign off because, like I said, I don't want us to just kind of be sitting around staring at each other while I'm waiting for something to cook. But later on tonight, we'll post pictures of the finished dish. And really from here, any kind of way you want to finish this is up to you. In our fridge right now, I've got some fresh cilantro because I'm going to be making tacos in a little bit. Don't have any sour cream, but I got some Greek yogurt. Be a good enough substitution. Any kind of shredded cheese you want to add. And then if you wanted to kind of repurpose this later on, let's just say you happen to have some frozen French fries or tater tots in your freezer. Pour your chili over it. You're stockpiling hot dogs for the kids.
Comfort food.
Lentil chili hot dogs. Yeah, there's no reason we can't have comfort food. I'm taking something inherently healthy and thinking of ways to just, have you pack on the pounds there. But, sometimes we need to eat our feelings in times like this. So really anything you wanted to kind of do with it garnish-wise, all up to you. I'm going to throw a lid on this in just a second. Please keep it up with the comments, with the likes, anything you guys want to see going forward. We got some great, we got some Moroccan ideas because we had a trip to Morocco that's getting canceled. Boo-hoo. Like
Postponed.
Postponed, not canceled. Thank you. We're going to be doing some jambalaya to work on the rice, some Thai curries maybe coming along the line. Anything you guys want to see, anything you want me to use up, please let me know. I am here for you guys as a fun way to kind of connect. And
what are some tips for people if they are going to the store? What should they be picking up?
Let's see. Not a whole case of toilet paper. Please. God, no. Although, when I first walked in, I'm like, why does someone have 2 cases of toilet paper? And I look deeper in the cart and I see the cans of corned beef hash and Hot Pockets. I'm like, all right, well, I guess that makes sense. Don't come with an ironclad plan. Come with the idea of trying to be flexible, just knowing you're going to have to do the best you can. Because if you come with the shopping list, you're probably going to be disappointed. I know I just kind of made a few trips through just to walk around, see what was available. A lot of the stores, at least the Publix in our neighborhood, said yesterday that they weren't going to have some of the ground meat items restocked until Thursday. So trying to kind of do some stuff that may just require as few ingredients as possible. I know going forward, I'm going to try and do some with maybe, 1 protein, 1 fresh vegetable, and then maybe some pantry staples. We'll see how that goes. But again, anything you guys want to see, please let me know. Fun way to connect and keep in touch with all you guys. And anything that I can't talk about now, I'll address in the comments. And look forward to seeing you guys throughout the week. Be safe and wash your hands. See you guys.